learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a layer, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into July 28, 2020, and this is the biggest opportunity in the stock market. I am not kidding. This is not clickbait. I have to share something with you that has to do with this earnings. It's going to lead into some of the plays that I will be looking at. I am going to make them, and really, I have one of the most important questions you will ever be asked, and it has to lead with this opportunity. I might even have to leave it up to the coin, so I really want to do these plays. I can't wait to show you this. We're going to focus a lot on options in the options chain. You guys will see it. It's earnings tomorrow. We're going to get some of the decent-sized companies. Then Wednesday morning, it's going to start to get very, very active. Wednesday after hours, and then Thursday is the big, big day, so I hope you're ready. But I got that. I got the plays. I got the keys. We have to talk about this. I can't wait to show you, so let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And I honestly, I don't know. It's a lot of pressure to think about something every day, but we could just get right into it. I'm sure some of you would appreciate that. But I love you, Colt. So right off the bat, the first thing, this is the most important question I'm going to ask you guys. This is the most important thing you will ever be asked. The question is, do you agree or do you disagree? That is it. That is the opportunity. That is the main question being asked here. So we saw in the last few days, the market, I mean, thankfully today we closed in the green, not by too much, but still a decent amount. But at the same time now, we closed green, not a down Friday, not a down Monday. This is really the same thing we saw last week or 2 weeks ago, but we were coming off of a up Friday, then the up Monday, and then that bad Tuesday. But you kind of saw how everything played out. It really just seems like a carbon copy of this waiting for earnings. Now, at the same time, what I'm going to show you guys on the option chain is literally this question. It is, do you agree or not? There was a big premium crush, and there's a reason why. It's kind of what Wall Street is expecting. So far, after these earnings, after these movements, you guys have seen it already. I'm going to show you these option chains because it's not like this with every company. So this is why I can't wait to show you guys a visual example. But there's some option chains. Everything's down, both ops calls and puts. You lost on both sides. The premiums have been deflated crazy. So with a weakening dollar, that's an awful lot of deflation, you know? But what that really means is that expectations have dropped dramatically on both sides. So now this is why I'm saying it's a really big opportunity, because you still have very, very big companies that are going to report. But now based on the prices of some of these options and how they've traded over the last few months, it seems like Wall Street's expectations have died down considerably, even from last Friday, which is pretty amazing, or even 2 Fridays ago. So I'm going to show you guys that, but that is the opportunity in the chain, and I really do think it is massive. So I'm going to show you that. We've talked about this, but any of these big earnings, again, this is the biggest earnings week. So to notice this right now, you have to be wise about it. Doesn't mean you could play everything. You really have to ask yourself, do you agree or disagree? Is the market right or is the market wrong? You will get rewarded if you are right on it. So that is literally a coin toss. So it is gambling. Be careful. This is why a lot of people don't like to play earnings, and this could also even be reflected in the premiums thus far. So be safe. None of this recommendation. Option trading shows lose almost for financial, don't lose on financial advice. Purpose only. Thank you for a wonderful day, but I love you and good luck. But that is the first thing. The next thing has to do with the vaccine. The vaccine news has been making some waves today, but I will say, notice how it's taking a lot more to move the stocks a lot less. So wait for equal and opposite reactions. There was some stuff with other countries, I think even like Fujifilm and like the award, but then there was news earlier today that the drug companies canceled the White House meeting, not the other way around, not that the White House canceled the drug makers, but they canceled the White House meeting. So it was a pretty interesting piece of news. I didn't see it touched on too much, so I want to watch how that develops, but keep this stuff in mind. It's at an interesting phase, and I think towards the end of the month, we still haven't got the full set of answers, so there might be a little bit juice left, but I am going to look for an exit on some of those plays. Remember, we're still holding them. We were up on them. Some got clapped. They're still up, but that's why I'm like, okay, if there is any positive sign of life, I might want to take on that one. So keep an eye out for that, though. Could still move the market. And then finally, just in general with earnings, tomorrow after hours will be a little bit active. Tomorrow in the morning, we have some companies, Pfizer, Triple M. I always call it Triple M. It's 3M and then MCD, McDonald's. So those are kind of big companies. You'll see some continuations. There's going to be some bigger companies after hours, AMD, Starbucks, Visa. But in the morning Wednesday now, you're going to get really big companies. After hour Wednesday is going to be popping, and then Thursday is going to be the same exact thing. So that's when things are going to move. But now keep an eye out for the mornings and pretty much the closes. That's when we get into some of the bigger companies. Again, Wednesday and Thursday, the mornings, there's going to be a lot more volatility or activity. Kind of, again, just keep in mind what we saw after kind of Netflix and stuff like that. So you're going to have a lot of companies at the same time. There will be movements in the morning. It'll chill out, and then towards the end of the day, it'll move. So keep that in mind. Be prepared. But that's pretty much going to be it. I have all of the important earnings and some of the ones that you guys called out, but the main focus is going to be revolving around these earnings plays and making this assumption or making this decision. Do you agree or not? So I can't wait to show you, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, Boeing, Shopify, Spotify, Starbucks. These are the four that I want, and I'm no exaggeration. I'm going to show you which ones, because not all of them are going to be calls. I will show you the opportunity both ways, and I will tell you what I agree with and what I don't agree with, but I want you guys to see this. This helped out a lot last time. So these are the ones I like because these are the biggest movers. If I want to spend a little bit amount of money, these companies can move a lot. Now, at the same time, they have a lot of hype, and sometimes for earnings, a lot of hype doesn't lead to a big move. That's why, do you agree or disagree? Do you think it's going to move or not? But these are all Wednesday morning except for Starbucks. So Starbucks is tomorrow after hours. So now this is a list of other companies that report tomorrow. Some of them, this is a little bigger than the list that I gave yesterday because I was paying attention to what you guys put in the comments, what you guys put in the chat. There is a bunch of other companies. So here's a list. Even some of you guys were mentioning these. I will tell you the ones that I like, but there's a lot of companies reporting. So keep in mind there could be movements prior to earnings on the day of. Be very, very careful for premium crush. There still could be a premium run up, but if you want to play them, I don't think I'm going to go after anything because they don't meet this criteria I'm going to show you. So let me get into that and show you. But we will start with Boeing. Here is your opportunity in the stock market, ladies and gentlemen. I've showed you this before. I have a whole video on this, but it's the option chain. And really, I mean, just look. Everything calls and puts. Even if we go out to October, I would say be careful of August for earnings. Now, these are good plays because they have time. Again, you could even go 1 week out if you really wanted to. I do not recommend that at all. It's very, very risky. Again, with earnings, the best move, if you really want to make a really, really good hit and get the most bang for your buck, I like to go for the ones with time. So now it is July 27th. So these are like 3 weeks, 26 days remaining on these contracts. They're kind of, it makes sense why they've depreciated, but now, so September is kind of the base that I want, but September chains are kind of a liquid and still kind of expensive. But this is what I want to show you guys. Here's the option chains. I mean, here's like on 100-day, some depending on how actively traded have a bigger history, but coming here, you could see in the last few weeks, they've all kind of came down. Now, September, it looks like is holding a little bit better. And even if we want to go closer to the money, here are all the calls. So pretty much this is what you saw on a lot of different plays all across the board. The last few days, everything just kept going down regardless of even what the stocks did. Here's the S&P 500. Here's Boeing. I mean, it kind of reflects it a little bit, but that's on the call side. But then now also same thing on the put. Pretty much both calls and puts are at all-time lows. In this last week coming into earnings, all of the premiums on some of these companies have dropped, and that is pretty much saying that the market isn't expecting a big enough move or the size of the move as it was expecting not too long ago. Now, granted, these contracts have decayed because more time has gone on, but now even if you go back in time, you will pretty much notice the same thing unless it's like in the money or super in the money. But this is a November one, but it's a pretty big difference you could see. But now the same thing goes for the calls. The calls are a little bit up in this case with a little bit more time. That's good. But now you can kind of see still pretty bad. But now, again, Boeing looks like that as well, too. Over the last 100. No, never mind. Boeing has just gone up. So that shouldn't, I mean, you would expect that to be a little higher. So pretty much the market is not expecting as big of moves. Now, that's Boeing, but you can see on both sides of the chain, it is depressed. Now, let's go to Shopify. Same thing. And now take note, even today, Shopify was up $50 but we'll do the same thing. You could start from August 21st, but you'll pretty much notice the same exact thing. Anything further out the money, the contracts dropped. Look at in this last 3 days. In the last 3 days, it went from $8 to $2. Again, you saw really dramatic drops, but now Shopify doesn't really look like that. Do you see what I'm saying? So coming into earnings, this means the expectations here were different than they were even right here than they are today, and then now even coming closer into the report. But this is literally throughout the chain, whether you're close to the money or even far from the money. You see, the ones closer to the money held up a little bit better, but from a few weeks ago, they've dropped dramatically. That means the at the money expectations pretty much a week ago, the market was literally pricing in double, but this literally had just like what, a week extra of time. It shouldn't have that big of an effect. So let's come to September, pretty much the same exact scenario here. So these contracts aren't as active, you could see, but yeah, for the most part, a few days ago, stock was at the same price. They were literally pricing in about like 20% more with a little bit more time, 50% less with a month less of time. So this is all on the call side, but now it's the same exact scenario even with the puts. So these are September. You can't really see it as well. Let's see if we go to October. Yeah. Puts, again, these aren't really actively traded. You could tell even how the charts look when it doesn't look all colorful. And again, you could see the open interest and the volume and all that. See, that this contract's probably been traded for a while, but these new ones you could see. But the puts have gotten cheaper over time. But again, it's the same exact thing with the calls. So overall, there's deflation on the option chain. That means expectations have dropped on both sides. So do you agree or not? Boeing, do you agree it's going to have a big move or not? The market's saying no on both sides. Shopify, do you agree it's going to have a big move or not? The options have changed dramatically, even on the short-term scale by 15%. Do you agree or not? Flip a coin, make a decision. I don't know. But that's where the opportunity is, because if you are correct now, market disagrees. That's why you're going to be able to get it at a better price, or maybe the market is adjusting. Even if it does move, the premium is coming down to an appropriate price as well too. That will be the X factor. So hang with me, be careful here. That's Shopify. Now let me show you Spotify. It's a little bit different of a scenario now. Spotify's gone up. So is this one, do you agree or not? Well, it's a different scenario. You've seen in the last few days, expectations have changed somewhat. You could see it a little bit on the Octobers, but for the most part, they've held up pretty decent. So now, even on the short term, I think closer to the money they held up a little bit better. Again, it has dropped. Which side was it? I guess they're kind of right in the middle. Last 3 days it's dropped, but they're still inflated. But now the puts, you can see all across the board on any single one of these, they've dropped. So expectations with puts coming in earnings hasn't been going up as much, but Spotify, one of them. And then finally, the last one is going to be Starbucks. So which one? I think this is the one, yeah, where the call, see, on this case, closer to the money, didn't move as much, but they've held the value. So expectations have stayed relatively the same for the most part. But again, in the last 3 days, depending on the level of exuberance, it's changed anywhere 30 to 50%. But these are the ones I like: Spotify, Boeing, Shopify. Those are the three I'm going to want to flip on. And then Starbucks as a second runner-up, depending on which ones we play out of those first three. But you could see, I think the biggest opportunity is with Boeing. So now what I will say, Boeing, I think there's an opportunity both ways. I disagree with the market. So I think I'm going to flip the coin on it, but I disagree in the sense I think Boeing is wrong. I agree with Spotify on the call side, meaning that I don't think it's going to do anything. If anything, I'd want a cheap put in the sense that I would think the market, pretty much I disagree with the market on any of the puts. So any company that's up a lot and the puts have depreciated substantially, so even Shopify, I disagree with it just because they've moved up so much. Now, the hard part is determining, fair pricing more or less. See, like some of these, but like they just haven't been like actively traded. Like, yeah, like this I kind of just disagree with, but then the question is, how much will the stock reasonably drop? Because this is pretty far out the money now. So again, picking these strikes, I'm using the chain to decide. So those are the three plays. Those are my feelings on it. Again, I think Starbucks is neutral. I think that one could be a good opportunity as well too. I'm still kind of stuck on that, but we will see. Anything could happen tomorrow morning and that could change. So watch out for that. Going back to the options list, as far as everything else, you're going to get AMD tomorrow after hours, Starbucks, Visa, ACAM. Out of all of these, AMD is too expensive. So if you go look at AMD's chart, the calls are expensive. I don't agree with that. I think the puts are a little bit cheaper, so I agree with that. Starbucks, again, we looked at that. Visa, I haven't looked at. They could move, but they don't really make a move. ACAM could surprise. I looked at the option chain, and then again, ACAM is one that if it surprises, it has the potential to move big, but that's why it's good for options because it usually doesn't move. So that's what I mean. It has the potential to move big because it's not a big mover. So if it surprises, it could really break out. I looked at the chain today. I didn't like it. eBay, they could probably move a decent amount. Again, look at the option chain and see. DXCM, people brought this up. Watch them. We brought up STX yesterday. A few people brought up FireEye. I don't think they'll move too much, but keep an eye on them. IMAX, a lot of people talked about. Again, same thing as FireEye. I feel the same way. Even with CAR and Mondelez, they don't move too much. I mean, I don't know if they could even be like a long-term play. I don't know how I feel about Mondelez. I'm pulling it up on chart. I don't know. I don't really know. For them as earnings, not too sure on them. Boyd Gaming, this is a casino stock. Juniper Networks, someone brought this up. I like them. And then Mossy, this was an old long-term I missed out on. They're pharmaceutical. Same thing with DXCM. Both of these are biotech, not related to the virus. I kind of like both of them. Same logic as ACAM. If these surprise better than expected, they could move. And these would probably be the only ones I'd like on the upside. ACAM, DXCM, and Mossy are the ones I think that could surprise to the upside. Maybe Seagate. Everything else, I'm not too sure. Maybe Starbucks, but everything else, if they have cheap puts, I like it, but doesn't mean we play with everything because some of them, I agree that maybe the stocks won't move too much. So like AMD, I kind of agree. Starbucks, I kind of agree too. That's why I'm kind of conflicted because I'm like, I think it could surprise, but this is what makes earnings tough. So I hope you guys are ready, but watch those. As far as everything else, I think that covers most of it. We have those play. Watch Apple and Amazon again. I really think I don't know if you guys saw gold. Gold keeps breaking out today, even with silver bid. I think Amazon, I think something's going to happen again, or this is just wild, even with the market. There's some things happening, but I think this earnings is pivotal and important. The option chains are getting weird. Again, we're coming into August, so get ready here. But Amazon and Apple, watch them. Facebook, because of Congress, they canceled their earnings. Not canceled, they pushed back their earnings in the conference call. So it was a little bit weird. We got a little bit more clarification, but watch them again as well. We talked about Boeing shop. Watch 3M for continuation and McDonald's. I did sell 13 out of 15 McDonald's calls that I had today. Wanted to get the cash balance in check after taking losses last week, but the plays started going up. We were up a lot. So I was like, I'll keep $100 for earnings, take some of the profit. Again, just given what we've seen, how the expectations have changed in the last 2 weeks. So watch that. Watch STX. I like, again, ACAM and Mossy. Again, I really, really like this one. We've talked about this a while. I do this thing. I mean, if you remember, I talked about this in 2019. I don't want to look at it, but watch them. Watch gold. And finally, where's Mr. TLT? Keep an eye on him. It dropped today, but this is pretty interesting. Again, you're watching a push-pull, even between the trifecta. You're watching the dollar, gold, and then now even the S&P make a bunch of moves. Just keep this in mind and be patient, but this is important. I think once we get these data releases and then a little bit following after, should get a little excited. So I hope you're ready. There's opportunity everywhere, so stay in the game. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you in the game and appreciative of what you have. Get ready for tomorrow's philosophy because you got to do it today. Understand what you can appreciate so you know what risk you could take, baby. It's game time. Stay in the game. Stay focused. It's earnings, but there's more earnings, and we're getting into August. It is almost the fourth quarter. Don't forget, baby, the cult loves you. I love you, and we'll see you in the morning. Let's go!